Medicine has changed throughout the years in the most amazing ways to truly help people. But a good understanding of the medical field, treatments and causes for infection and diseases were not always known. The American people had to start somewhere and needed a push to make breakthroughs that happened over the years. The Civil War, World War I, World War II, the Korean War, Vietnam War, and modern wars have given doctors, surgeons, and all people a push to work together for a greater good of everyone in the advancement of any and all medical aspects. The Civil War was the groundwork for establishing the medical advancements that we have today in the medical field. The biggest advancement in medicine during the Civil War was the advancing knowledge in sanitation and infection. Doctors learned the importance of cleaning tools and washing their hands to prevent infections from starting and spreading. Another important aspect that came out of the Civil War was the advancement of knowledge in amputations and prosthetics. Surgeons in the war learned how to effectively save a limb, whereas before they would just cut it off. World War I brought the unparalleled degrees of havoc and devastation as a result of strenuous trench warfare and new weaponry like machine guns, tanks, and chemical weapons. On the account of the new weapons the war had brought the medical field, there was a need to establish new inventions, like the Thomas splint or the giving and storing of blood to counteract the new injuries from the weapons. The Thomas splint worked to secure a broken leg and increase the survival rates of those with damaged femurs. Many people fighting in today's wars believe that knowledge of how to treat a leg injury on the battlefield went back to the forefathers. The process of blood transfusions saved many soldiers from dying of severe blood loss or a hypovolemic shock that came from severe blood loss. The act of pre-donating blood, the use of anticoagulant when storing blood, and the matching of blood types were techniques created to save lives during World War I, and are not only used in today to save lives of soldiers, but everyday people as well. World War II brought many leaps in technology and laid the groundwork for post-war social and medical changes. One main aspect that was changed by World War II was the time and training put into anesthesiology. There was one problem with the requirement. Most were trained in the field and didn't get the proper training that was needed to accurately practice anesthesiology. Although not everyone can be treated appropriately, let alone saved, progress in anesthesia undoubtedly made the operations easier for the patients. There are definitely benefits in extra training that went into training anesthesiologists, such as the amount of drugs given to the patient so that there would be no chance of overdose. The second aspect of improvement of detail in patient records. Improvement of patient records is one of the most important changes in the medical field. Keeping organized and through patient records allowing doctors to go back and look at the most effective methods in treating the patient's medicine is constantly changing and improving. These improvements were critical for saving lives during World War II. The Vietnam War helped advance the medical field in a couple ways. A major way was improvement in consistency. Since there's a shortage of medical professionals, the doctors have to give the right service when needed. To increase efficiency in the medical care, change the way we treat patients in a variety of ways. Patients were taken in ambulances and/or helicopters to transport them out of chaotic war zones. The next medical treatment helped the percentage of patients get better care, such as less recovery time and amount of injuries reduced. This medical aspect changed the Vietnam War. The invention of Emergency Medical Services, or EMS. EMS is a way of treating injuries on the battlefield before transporting the patient to get further care. The process of paramedics administering care before a wounded soldier could be transported to a hospital helped to secure the patient to have a better chance at them surviving. Those were just a couple aspects to change due to the Vietnam War. The Korean War began with North Korea passing the 38th parallel to invade South Korea. The war was a fight between the communists of the North and the capitalists of the South and their allying countries. The Korean War led to the use of medevac, the evacuations of patients from the battlefield via helicopter. This is why wounded soldiers in Korea had a better chance of recovery than the soldiers of any previous war. This was not only by virtue of improved medical treatments available at all eclogues, but also in large measurements because of the ready accessibility to major medical installments. The Korean War's medical help was better than any previous wars due to the fact they had help, which was available faster and more efficient in getting patients the care they needed. Because of this medical field advancements, more people were likely to survive. The widespread use of artificial kidneys was a way to help patients survive difficult surgeries or problems. The use of these different changes became greater and were used often in civilian life as soon as they were perfected. The use of artificial kidneys were helpful as they became the stepping stone in the course of making new artificial body parts. The Korean War brought huge medical advancements to fix the problems people developed during the war, and in turn help people outside the war as well.
New technology is available in every new war. New weapons are developed that are even more destructive and more capable of causing damage. With that in mind, each war has new things that hadn't been discovered, and discover new ways to cure injury or disease. But the former knowledge from the former wars is what gives us the advantage that we now have each day during the modern wars. One of the biggest advancements is prosthetics. Prosthetics today are so close to the actual limb, people are able to walk, run, and have almost complete mobility in the limb that was lost, which helps them to continue living their daily lives. The improvement in prosthetics started in the Civil War, when it was just a simple attachment with no mobility, then led to today's robotic arms. The goal of the robotic arms are to make the new prosthetics to resemble an actual limb as closely as possible, including the size, shape, and the range of mobility. The goal in today's prosthetics is to get them to be the same as having your real limb back to improve your basic life. Another improvement is the use of bandages that help to speed up the process of clotting, helping to reduce the chance of bleeding out. The bandages have medicine in them that help aid in the process of clotting blood in wounds. When rescued in the battlefield, all medical responders and army men have the bandages in their packs and use them to help aid in the saving of lives and give them more to save the lives of the soldiers. War, although frowned upon because of its stereotypical symbolism for death, destruction, and the degeneracy of civilization, is actually a big factor in allowing and pushing mankind to make advancements in the medical field that assist in both times of war and of peace. The Civil War led to the advancement in the understanding of surgical procedures, infections, and amputations, all of which are necessary knowledge for any future advancements. World War I catapulted the knowledge of creations of new technology from the Thomas splint to competent blood transfusions, and all of this was to combat the new weaponry that the war brought as well. World War II led to the development of technology and knowledge used to help treat chemical and gas burns. The Vietnam War led to the increased efficiency and understanding used in the combat EMS system. The Korean War led to the development of artificial kidneys, saving the lives of many soldiers. Finally, the modern wars that are still happening today are focusing on all the aspects mentioned and improving them more and more.